My name is Kevin Ray, and you're listening to Truckers and Others. I'll go ahead and record one. This is for Sunday. It'll be released. I don't know why I'm saying it'll be released, because it'll be released when you hear it. But anyways, this is Sunday, and I'm going to give you a little shorty today, just to tell you what I've been up to. I was on call this weekend, so Friday night I get a text from my boss, and not that it was a call, it wasn't an ER. When you're on call, you don't get a call, you just get scheduled work. So you don't, I think I explained this last time, you don't get the benefits of being on call, which is $75 for the call out, and then a $2 raise for the first 24 hours of the job. So no, this is scheduled work. So it is overtime. So I'm making decent money overtime. But I get a text Friday night. Hey, be at the shop at 6:30 and grab the guzzler. And that was about it. So yes, I wake up early Saturday morning, and the kids were dropped off at my parents'. So Friday night there were no kids at home. It was just me and my wife. And then Saturday, wake up, make my coffee. Which my coffee, so the day before, I had to use my coffee cup as a spitter. You can probably tell where this is going. I had to use my coffee cup as a spitter. I did dump it out, but I didn't rinse it out or anything. And then so Saturday morning, I wake up, I grab my coffee cup, pop off the lid, throw it in the coffee maker. Oh Jesus! I didn't realize there was fucking shoe strands and a little bit of spit left in their eyes. Yeah, but the coffee, you couldn't taste. You couldn't taste anything until the end. When I got down to the end of it, and I was like, "What are the chunks in here?" So yeah, that's kind of gross, I guess. But I mean, it's chew that I put in my mouth, voluntarily, and sometimes I do swallow a little bit of it, so it's not like a horrible fucking thing. It sounds gross, but it wasn't that bad. Anyways, yeah, get to the shop, go grab the truck. I end up grabbing the wrong truck, but I grabbed a truck and I go out and I throw all my shit in the truck, and then I realize I have the wrong truck, because we have two different types of guzzlers. Well, three, but we have one that's just a guzzler. You got to hook a hose to the back of the truck, and then, to the top of the back of the truck. And there's no big boom arm that comes out or anything. And then there's another one that has the big boom arm that comes out. And then the third one is the high rail that has the big boom arm and rail gear on it. I did not grab the right one. I grabbed the one that did not have the boom arm on it. Anyways, not a big deal. We were working right down the street from our shop, and we pull in there, and we have to sit through this training. There's this lady and this dude, and we're watching this safety video. It's just like any other safety video. And then she's like, all right, so yeah, the pits are right at 4 foot deep. So we need you guys to harness up and tie off. And we're all like, this is a scrap metal place. It's a piece of shit scrap metal place. There's fucking shit everywhere. You go in there, you're getting a flat fucking tire. It's a horrible, nasty place. And we've worked there before, but this is like a new safety supervisor. So she's like, and even our boss was like, tying off is going to be an issue. She's like, it will be an issue, but you will be tying off. You will be harnessed, and you will be tying off the entire time. We're all like, oh God, this is not going to be good. So we go out, and we found there's 6 different pits that tie into the main line that for all the drainage of this entire plant. And there's like 6 different pits along it. And we start off at number 1, and what we're doing is we're line jetting. So they're big, like 12-inch pipes. Some of them are 14, some of them are even bigger, but most of them were like 12-inch, just ADS piping. So they're pretty smooth on the inside. And this place, I don't know if you know about the fluff. I think I explained it, but it's all the cushions, the seat fabric, the rubber, the plastic, anything that isn't metal, basically off of a car, is called fluff. And that shit's fucking everywhere out here. And they have metal, like expanded metal lids that go over these drainage pipes, which are like 3-foot culverts, just down in the ground. And yeah, we get there. I get the, trying to get the truck in the right spot is a little bit difficult. It's kind of hard to see, and you got guys, telling you where to go and everything, but you're still like dealing with overhead power lines, overhead, walkways and stuff. You're driving over just trash from cars and stuff. But anyways, we got in there. It wasn't that big of a deal, but we got the truck in there. And this is the guzzler. I got the arm pulled all the way out, and then we had a hard pipe that hooks to the end of the arm, and then allows you to, the arm goes up and down, side to side, so you're able to go down into the pit and suck out all the water that's in the pit, because we're going to send a line jetter, which will blast its way through the pipe, but it's also got sprayers on the backside which kind of propel it. So whenever you blast through it, whenever you're pulling the line back out, it's pushing anything that's in this fucking pipe backwards, and it's going to fill up the pit. And that's why we needed the guzzler there, is to suck out the pit as the shit's coming out. And these lines had not been cleaned in a long fucking time. The lids, I'm sure, have been pulled off, knocked off, and a bunch of shit gets down in there. Like, there was logs down there. I'm like, there's no fuck. Looking at the lids, I'm like, there's nowhere a log could fit. And I don't know. So, and they're supposed to all have concrete bottoms, but a couple of them, the concrete apparently eroded, and we were going down like 12 foot. And I'm like, that's, I can keep going, but, Chinamen are going to start waving at us if we go too far. So they had us quit doing that, but I was still like cleaning the pits out. And the line jetter was doing a good job on the 12-inchers. It was doing a really good job. And then we were moving pit to pit. We got to we got to the first, second pit, and then we got to the third pit. And the third pit, I don't know. It was a newer style pit that they had put in, I'm guessing. So it was pretty clean, but whenever we line jet this downstream and pull, it was pretty good. And then when we were going upstream, because the pit is opened up in there, that's where the two pipes would meet up. And we line jet one direction, and then we lined it jet the other direction. And we were having such a fucking hard. We did it. We used four tanks of water, which the line jetter holds, I think 500 gallons. We used 4 of those fucking tanks full of water on just the one fucking line. We could not, and we still weren't getting anywhere. Like we weren't sure where it came out. So we were told it came out in one area, but it ended up coming out in another area. But it was a long fucking time. And then I'm using the guzzler and I'm sucking all this shit up. I'm like, all right, my truck is full. Like, I got to dump somewhere. And so the first couple times she had me dump, it was just on the ground next to this pile of cars. The cars were all smashed down, and they were getting ready to go through the shredder. The place was closed down, so there was nobody else there but us. So I'm just dumping on the fucking concrete right next to this pile of cars. And then she's yelling at me saying, "Oh, we need to get Boom out here. You're splashing." I'm like, Does it matter where the fuck it splashes? It's oily water. You're having me dump it on the fucking ground and you're worried that the ground is getting dirty? I don't understand what you want from me. But I gotta get the shit out of the truck or I can't fucking do my job. The truck won't work if there's shit in there. So she's like, all right, well, take it over to the fluff pile and dump in there. So I opened the door and it fucking blew out, knocked the fluff was just a wall basically, and it just was going out in the parking lot. She's like, all right, stop, stop, stop. I'm like, it's done. There's not there. I can stop, but there's nothing to stop. It's all once that back door opens, there ain't no stopping it. you know. So then the next time she wanted me to open up the back valve because there is a valve back there that you can drain from, but not whenever you're sucking up all the crap that we're sucking up. So whenever I open up the valve and I tilt the tank back, even without tilting the tank back, all that shit that's in the bottom of my tank, it just clogs up the fucking valve. So I was like, sorry, lady, I gotta fucking open this back door. She's like, well, do you know how to run some of this equipment that we have here? I'm like, I know how to run anything. Do I? I've ran quite a bit of equipment, but I haven't ran a rubber tire loader. But I imagine it's pretty fucking simple. But whenever they scissor in the middle, that can throw you off if you've never ran one before. But what a better time to learn than there. But anyways, she wasn't. She asked me, and it seemed like it was going to be a go. But then she said, no, no, I'm going to call in one of our operators. I'm like, on a Saturday? And this is like night by the time this is happening. Well, not night, but it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So if somebody's coming in, it's going to be a while. They ain't just going to come in and leave. So she ended up calling up a guy, and he was not happy to be there. You could definitely tell. He was at home hanging out with his family or whatever he was doing. And he just knocked the pile over, spread it out, and I was picking up what he was throwing down. I just pulled up on top of this big, it was like a 2 or 3 foot layer of fluff, and I just drove onto it and opened the valve on that, and it was still making the shit float away because it's foam and fabric. It's not heavy. So I was just dumping on the fucking pile, and it was working though. It was better than what it was, and I'm like, she's like, we're gonna have to clean that up. I'm like, no, the loader, whenever they come in on Monday, will scoop it all up and make another pile. There's nothing to clean here. I'm like, how you want the concrete cleaned now? Like what? I don't know. She is not used to being out working, and I don't know. She's safety cleanliness lady or whatever of this particular business. So, and she's new. So it's kind of a shock to her, but I think she learned by the end of it. But yeah, we got all the lines jetted. We found all the lines. We stuck the guzzler in all of them, sucked them all out. At the very end of our day, we were packing up because we were like done. And the line jetter needed to go out to Colorado the next day. Somebody was going to come in on Sunday and take the line jetter. But she's like, well, we still need stuff done, so you guys are going to need to come in tomorrow. And we're all like, fuck. Like, I don't think so. And me, I'm thinking, I'm going to Oklahoma next week, all week long. I need a 34-hour fucking reset, or my shit's not going to fucking work. But I ended up talking to my boss because I was really worried about it, like the big boss. And he, maybe I just don't understand the fucking logs very well, but I thought no matter what, after 8 days, you needed a 34-hour reset in order to give you back all your fucking hours that you can work on the e-log. He's saying, no, it only if you hit 70. If you hit 70, you need a 34-hour reset. If you don't hit 70, it just like your day that you started your logs, like Monday, will fall off, and it'll just continually be like that. I'm like, what the? I'm like, I've never heard of that. It makes sense, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, I've worked 70 hours before, but I've actually worked way longer than that. But I always had a 34-hour reset, and that was like known. And if I'm on call and they send me out to work, I'm almost guaranteed to have Sunday completely off. Well, either Saturday off to have a 34-hour reset or Sunday off. Either one. I'm guaranteed to have one of those off, and if I don't get one of those off, I usually will get Monday off, so I can get my 34-hour reset. But he's acting like it's going to be perfectly fine and everything, and I'm going with it. I'm like, hey, you know it way better than me, apparently. So if you say everything's going to be fine, everything will be fine, and I will come in, I will work on Sunday, everything will be all right, and or it won't. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a mystery what's going to happen on Monday. But if Monday comes around and it doesn't work, that guy's hood is about to fly the fuck up. There's a little Toyota Corolla, and his hood is just blom, 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 blom. That thing's gonna fly the fuck up and scare the shit out of him. Anyways, so yes, good news. I had to work today too. I'm like, all right, we coming in at 7 or what? He's like, no, we need to be here at 6:30 again. I'm like, not that it really, half hour is that big of a deal, but it's like, fuck, man. I gotta get home, get to sleep, so I can get the fuck up and come back again. And yeah, we get there, and I mean, we were all on the same page at the beginning of the day. We were all gonna go to that one hole and work on it again. But I don't know. The lady apparently talked to somebody and changed up the whole plan. I was at her disposal. So she walked around to each hole and she's like, "Can you suck this hole out?" I can, but you can see the fucking bottom of it. You can see, it's not level, and there's chunks of shit down there. And we're not cleaning like chunks of shit. We're sucking the line out. We're clearing the line. But like, oh, that was a big pothole. But I'm not here to fucking. My truck doesn't pick up giant chunks of shit. That's what it's made for. It's like an 8-inch pipe. So whatever fits in the 8-inch pipe will go, but there's a lot of elbows and stuff on my truck, so shit gets fucking caught in there all the time. Um, but yeah, she's like, "Oh, hey, that first pit, it's got some water in it. Will you suck it out?" I'm like, "I will, but I'm telling you, that's like 1 inch of water, if that." She's like, "Well, I want it sucked out." I'm like, "If you want it, I'm here to do it." So I had to walk. Anyways, the truck was already over there, and I wasn't gonna drive the truck all the way to the other side of the yard just to grab the fucking hard pipe. So I walked all the way to the other side, grabbed the hard pipe, and she's on her little fucking buggy driving right next to me. I'm like, "Can I throw this on your fucking buggy?" She's like, "There's no room for it. I'll meet you at the hole." I'm like, "God damn it." So I walked this fucking hard pipe all the way from the other side of the yard to the very first hole, because we ended on the last hole, and that we left our pipe there, knowing we were going to come back and knowing that's where we were going to be working. But things changed, so I had to walk the fucking pipe all the way to the other hole. And I'm like, I'm telling you, that's an inch of water. I dropped the pipe in there, and it barely even made a splash. It just fucking just went to the bottom, and you could clearly see you were at the bottom. She's like, "I thought there was a lot more water in there." I'm like, I know you did. And me and two other guys told you that there isn't. It's just barely anything in there. She's like, "Well, go ahead and suck it out anyways." So I'm like, okay, I will. So yeah, I sucked up half a gallon of water out of this 3-foot diameter hole. And then she's like, all right, now I need you all the way at the other end. I'm like, God damn it, why wouldn't we fucking start down there? Why didn't we just start down at that fucking end? So I rig up the fucking pipe to tied it off to the side of the truck because there's nowhere for it to go, and I can't drive with it hooked on. So yeah, they patched all these fucking potholes. Not very well, but they did. Go over there, and it's the outfall, so it's like that's the very end of the line, and it goes to the river, and there's I don't know like 6 inches of water in there, and it's a decent size. It's like 10 foot wide and probably 6 foot uh, at the bottom of it. It's like 6 foot from the bottom of the ramp to the edge of the wall. There's the inlet pipe where everything ties in, and then there's the two pipes that go into the river. And yesterday, I will say yesterday, that shit was up and it was draining into the river. And if you know anything about oil, because most of the shit we were sucking was oil. Oil floats on top of water. So if and the pipes that go to the river are like a foot and a half above the bottom of the outfall. So as the water level would rise, guess what was the first thing to get into the pipe to go to the river? It was all oil. So I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't realize those went to the river. And she's like, yeah, they do. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to. So last night, whenever we sucked it out, that's what I brought it down and it quit feeding into the river. And then today I went there and I sucked it. She's like, I just want to get it all cleaned up. I'm like, yeah, we can do that. And I had to run a bunch of flex hose, 6-inch flex hose, about 50, 60 foot of it to get down to the bottom of the outfall because it's a long ramp and there was a bunch of shit in the way. And whenever the guy with the loader was there, I said, hey, can you move all that shit? And he said, nah, man. I fucking made you a fluff pile and I'm gone. I'm like, oh, okay. So, instead of being able to get right up on the fucking shit, whatever. We got it done. There was Flexos there from a different job, so it was all right. But yeah, we went there and I suck it all up. I'm like, hey, I'm at the bottom. I'm sucking it up. Do you want it clean or do you just want it sucked down? Because it's sucked down. I can't do much more than what I've done. I want it clean. So we had to send another guy because we didn't bring a power washer with us this time. We had to send a guy back to the shop, but it was about time to turn in the line jetter anyways, which there's more line jetting that needs done, but she didn't have us line jetting. She had us doing other shit. Oh, and while I'm doing this, the other guys are over there. They're sending in our remote controlled camera through the pipes because they wanted to look at the pipes and have them inspected, make sure there's no cracks or breaks or anything in there. So they're over there. I'm doing all this shit by my fucking self. I'm like hauling pipe and trying to get shit taped up, and she's there and she's just watching me. I'm like, but then the one guy that had the line jetter, he ended up taking off and took it back to the shop, grabbed the power washer, came back and sprayed it up, got it all nice and clean. We needed the pressure washer anyways because the back of my tank was fucking nasty with all kinds of shit. I tilted the bed up, none of that shit was sliding out. So I needed somebody who would have a power washer to wash out my truck anyways, and I wanted to get my boots cleaned up. And the best way to clean your boots is with the pressure washer. And yeah, we got it all cleaned up, and I'm like, are we done? She said, for today, but I'm gonna have you guys come back Thursday and Friday. I said, okay, knowing fine and well I will be in Colorado, or not Colorado. I'll be in Oklahoma, fucking living my life. So that job is done. It's 11:30. I just got home, so it was only a half day today. That is not enough time for my reset, because on Monday, tomorrow, I have to be at the place to get loaded at 7 a.m. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I have to be there at 7 a.m. to get loaded and hit the fucking road to Oklahoma and get offloaded. And then I can breathe a little bit after that. But I still need to make it as close to Kansas City as I can. It doesn't really matter that much, but I need to get as close to Kansas City as I can. So, but I will be staying in a hotel tomorrow night. I mean, I'll tell you all about this tomorrow. And I just got home, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. But this was just a little wrap up from the weekend. I'm actually, this was only half hour. So I'm gonna talk to you again, and when I talk to you again, it will be tomorrow. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. For a little bit. For like 2 seconds. Somebody has a case of the Mondays, and it ain't you. It's fucking me. Hey guys, welcome to the shit show. um, let me. I know that I think this is going to be a continuation of what I did on Sunday. So yeah, I worked all Sunday, and then I got. I needed to wake up. I needed to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Is what I had planned on doing. Did I set alarms? No, I fell the fuck asleep on the couch. But I did get laundry done, which was nice. And luckily, my wife came home and she switched it out for me, which was super nice of her, because or else all of my clothes would have been wet and I'd have been late, and it was fucking horrible. Because yeah, I woke up at 5:20, so I woke up a little later than I wanted to. Not a horrible gig, just a little bit of an issue. And I booked it. I was fucking hauling ass to work. And the only reason I needed to get up that early was I was going to give myself a little bit of extra time to get things ready, and I wouldn't have to rush around and all that shit. And yeah, all that went out the fucking window. And luckily I woke up at fucking 5:20. I'd still be in fucking bed. I could. I don't know. Well, not with kids and wife and everything. They'd be like, "It's 7:20. What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh shit." So yeah, I don't know. Let me just run back to Sunday night. Yeah, I got off work, came home, and it's kind of nice out. It's like 40, 50 degrees, or pretty nice weather when I got home last night. Well, not last night. I got home at 11:30, and I'm covered in shit, like completely covered. And I'm walking in the house, but before I get to the house, I look over at the wife's car and I see that front driver's side wheel is just caked in fucking brake dust and shit, and it's like thick shit. It's not something you can just wipe off the wheel, and the wheels are like clear coated, so like you should be able to wipe regular dust and grease off of the fucking wheel. No, this shit is like fucking sandpaper. I'm like, oh shit. And as soon as I walk inside, she's complaining about her car again. I'm like, okay, I'll take care of it. So I go out there and I jack up the car and I bring my son out. He's over there helping me work on the car, and I get the wheel, get it jacked up, get the wheel taken off, and take the brake pads out. And yeah, the back side of the rotor is fucking horrible. And then the brake pad, the rear or the inside brake pad was just thin fucking metal. These brake pads were just put on like 3 months ago, if that. And all the other ones are doing fine, but that one fucking wore all the way the fuck through. And so I call my father-in-law because me and him are the ones that have been working on this car quite a bit, and it's a Chevy Equinox. Not that it matters. This is just fucking brakes, you know, normal disc brakes. I call him and I'm like, hey, all right. So just to be clear, the next thing that we were going to work on this car, because me and him we replaced the wheel bearing, we replaced the caliper, we replaced the brake pads, we replaced the rotor, we replaced everything up front to do with the brakes, and we're still having fucking issues with it. Just the one side. So he's like, the only other thing is that little short brake line that goes from, not from the booster, but, it's got like a little thin metal line that comes down, and then it's the flexible brake line. Said that's the only other thing that is over there that could really be causing this. If not, maybe the line going up to the booster, but I'd start with that other one first. I'm like, okay, cool. So took the old brake line off, or no, before I did any of that, I mean, I was already past the point of no return, but before I did that, I went up to O'Reilly to make sure they had it, which they did, and I got a set of pads. Spent $100 on fucking a brake line and fucking pads. And all right, hurry up, Dooley. I took it back home and got it all put together and put back on. And the Chiefs game was on Sunday also. I don't know what time they started, but I was out working on the car. I got it all put back together. Everything is good, nice and tight, except for the wheel. And I call my neighbor. I was gonna have my wife come out, but I was like, eh. She's going, I am pushing the brakes hard. No, you're not. So I called my neighbor and I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, sitting here getting ready to watch the Chiefs game. It starts in 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, would you help me bleed my fucking brakes real quick? He's like, yes. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I just need to get this fixed before she gets to go to work and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yes, I'll be over. And so he ran over and he even brought brake fluid for me. And we got him bled out and everything was fine. It was weird because it wasn't bleeding very well, which I blew through the bleeder screw. I took the bleeder all the way out and I blew through it. It's completely clear. I dumped a little bit of brake fluid out whenever I was messing with the fucking caliper, trying to get it hooked back up. But I don't know. He's like, he's not a mechanic either. But I'm like, he's like, I don't know. I guess fucking try starting it and then we'll bleed it. So we fired it up, even though that's not really a thing, power brakes, whatever. But anyways, we had it running and we bled the brakes. And then I took it for a drive and it drove perfectly fine. There's no grinding, no dragging, no anything going on with it. So I'm guessing it was that brake line, I guess. And drove it around for a little bit, and then I brought it back home, and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna take it up to the car wash, see if the car wash will do anything to take off this fucking shit on your wheel and all the way down the side of her car." I mean, guys, listen, it looked like her car caught on fire. That's what it looked like. I know it was just fucking metal dust and brake dust and stuff, but it looked like there was a fucking raging fire on her fucking wheel. That's what it looked like. So I took it to the car wash. I mean, her car got cleaned-ish, but the wheel looked exactly the same. So I went into my garage and I opened up my cabinet with all my liquids and shit, just looking for anything. And I found a can of Easy Off oven cleaner, and I was like, "Hey, this will probably fucking work. It's good for baked on shit." So I took it out there and sprayed it on, and then I started scrubbing it with a brush. But then I read the instructions, says let it sit and do its thing, and then you just gotta wipe it off. I'm like, "Oh, cool. All right, cool." So I sprayed a bunch more on there and just left it. And then while that was cooking, I replaced the passenger side headlight because it went out recently, and I already had a headlight from when we replaced the driver's headlight like a year ago. Got it all put together, but I took the fucking whole headlight apart, not apart, but took the 3 bolts to get the headlight out. I even took a fender fucking bolt out. And I'm like, I cannot get this fucking light to come out. I'm like, do you have to take off the whole fucking bumper just to change a goddamn light bulb? But then I remembered there's access panels inside the wheel well. And I'm like, oh yeah. So got the wheels turned and took the little access panel off and yeah, bulb was right there. Easy peasy. Sometimes engineers do some good stuff. But, I don't see a reason the headlight can't just come out anyways. What if the headlight was cracked and I needed to take the headlight out? You got to take the whole motherfucker thing apart. It's ridiculous. There's no reason it needs to be that hard. But got it all taken care of. I even added some oil to it because she's got an oil consumption issue. It doesn't burn it, really. It doesn't put it in the coolant. I don't know what the fuck is happening with the oil. I'm guessing it does burn it, but it's got an oil consumption issue, so I added like a quart and a half of oil. Maybe that'll help it run a little smoother. And then I went to use the Easy Off, and yeah, that shit was just, I mean, I was having to use the scraper edge of the brush I was using, but it was just chipping off like crazy. It was easy peasy, and I got it. I couldn't get into all the nooks and crannies with the brush that I had, but I did a pretty good job. And then she had to go to work, so then me and the kids just hung out outside for a little bit. They rode around on their bikes while I cleaned up my big fucking mess. And yeah, pretty fucking good day. Went inside. She had left for work. I went inside with the kids. My son sat around. Nothing is charged up around the house. They have 2 iPads and a Nintendo Switch, and nothing's fucking charged up. So they're all constantly plugging it in for 2 minutes and then unplugging it. And I'm like, oh gosh, you guys got to leave it plugged in for a little bit. I think it's charged up. I'm like, hey, it's not. So they'd unplug it, and he's like, oh, look, it's charged up. I can play my game. And then he runs off, and then 5 seconds later, he's coming back. He's like, it died. I'm like, I know it died. I told you it was going to die. You got to leave that motherfucker plugged in. So anyways, we had a good night. I played a little bit of my video game. Not much, because I had kids screaming at me the whole time. And then I fell asleep on the couch. And then I woke up around 9 o'clock at night. Not that I fell asleep for very long. I was going in and out of sleep from like 8 o'clock on. I did feed the kids dinner. Don't think I'm a bad dad. I fed them chicken nuggets. That's what they all wanted. I said, "What do you want for dinner? This is what we have." They all wanted chicken nuggets, so that's what they got, and they ate it all. And then I made me some brisket burritos. Uh, we had that leftover roast. I call it brisket, but it was just roast. But it's super fucking good. But we're picking slim pickings now because we've been picking at it, and you can't tell. It's been in the fridge, so you can't tell what's fucking a chunk of fucking fat with meat on it or just a chunk of fat. But I had plenty. I made it up, and then my son, he loves it too, which makes me feel good. That he likes eating that, just the meat by itself. No, nothing else, just the meat. And yeah, got him put to sleep. I laid down, turned on YouTube, and then I realized I had to do paperwork and laundry, so got it all going. Got my bag all ready to go for the next day. I got my lunch. I didn't pack my lunch, but I made sure everything was like good to go in the morning. The only thing was getting the clothes put into the dryer, and then but luckily my wife showed up at home. And she got it switched over for me. That was so nice of her. And then in the morning, yep, wake up late, grab my shit, get all packed, get the fuck out the door, hit the fucking road, hauling ass, doing like 90 mile an hour into work. Get to work, walk inside, and you see the project manager for the job that I'm going to. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I'm like, "Brother, I'm running a little bit behind, but I promise you, I'll be all right. It'll be fine." So I hurried up, went down, did the a quick pre-trip on the truck, but I did kick all the tires and look at all the lights blinking. Okay, I did, and I checked the oil and I checked the coolant, and everything was good to go. I grabbed a new set of gloves. I grabbed a case of water. I went back into the office, grabbed my fucking paperwork, and hopped in the truck. And people were trying to talk to me, thinking that I'm there to hang out. Nope. I fucking walked right past all of them, got in the truck, and fucking took the fuck off. Booked it. No, not booked it, but our trucks, you can do 8 mile an hour over without it yelling at you and not sending emails to people that you're speeding or whatever. So I kept it pegged at almost 7 to 8 miles an hour over the whole fucking way. Got there. I needed to be there. Like what they tell you is, I want you at the gate at 7 a.m. waiting to get in there. And it's not even them telling you that. That's the way it is, because if you don't get loaded and get the fuck going, you're not going to make it to the facility that you need to offload in time. You're not. So I I got there at 7:08. So I was only 8 minutes behind overall. Overall, I was only 8 minutes behind. Not a big deal at all. I can easily take care of that, by maybe just not eating lunch, whatever I need to do. So I get pulled in there, and they told me that they moved the frac tank. So we're pulling liquid off of the top of frac tanks, and they're down to one tank, and they moved it inside of the building. And with the way they were explaining it to me, I thought I knew exactly where it was going to be. So I open up the door. Nope, not in there. Anyways, I run inside, and I get you have to have a safe work permit to do anything on their property. So I run in there, get the safe work permit, and I talk to the guys. I'm like, "Hey, the frac tank was moved. I thought I knew where they were talking about, but apparently not." And he's like, "All right, follow me." Showed me where it was. I got backed into the building. I hooked up my hose. I turned on the PTO. I pushed the lever back, because you have to have the lever pushed back also. and I opened up the isolation valve. I put the lever on the side of the trailer into vacuum mode. Went back there to make sure the vent was closed, and stared at the gauge, waiting for it to show me that it's pulling vacuum. No, not pulling vacuum. Okay, all right, let me go over here and I'll put it in pressure and then back to vacuum, because sometimes that ball gets stuck. Pressure, vacuum. Did not work. All right, let me put it back. Let me just hold it in pressure and see what that does. Nothing. All right, let me pull it to vacuum. Maybe the gauges that I'm looking at aren't correct. So let me put it into vacuum. Wait a little bit. I'm going to turn everything off, and then I'm going to go vent the truck, and I'll hear the vacuum. Nothing. All right, let me build pressure. Let me see if it's building any pressure. Put it in pressure. Let it sit there for a minute, maybe, and it should be building quite a bit of pressure by after a minute. At least you'll noticeable pressure. Nothing. All right, well, that fucking ball, that NRV ball, has got to be stuck. It's like the safety ball to keep fucking liquid from getting in there. So I turn everything off. I make sure everything's vented as much as it possibly can be, and then I hop up top. I open up the first hatch, the one that's closest to the front of the trailer. Open up the hatch, and I stick in this like shovel thing, and I bang on the little cage that has the little ball in it. Um, and I'm like, all right, I don't think that worked. Let me go grab my cell phone, and I'm going to take a picture of it. Go grab my cell phone, and it's dim as fuck. I'm like, why is it dim? Oh, I have 4% battery. Why? I don't know. I thought I fucking I thought it was charged up. I don't know. So I reach in there and I take a picture real quick, and then I try to look at the picture, but as soon as I do, fucking phone died. So I didn't even get to look at the picture. And so I hop down. I go ahead and button up the latch or the manway of the trailer. I get it all buttoned up, and I also make sure the isolation valve is working, because the isolation valve is right there, and it's got like a little indicator telling you that it's turning or not. So and the switch is right below the catwalk that I'm standing on next to the tank. So I reach down, I cycle the fucking valve. It's working properly. I'm like, okay, everything should be fine. And I hop down, go plug my phone in, turn on the PTO, put the lever back into on position. I turn on the cruise control and rev up the engine to about 1400 RPM. I get out. I make sure the isolation valve is opened, because it has to be open to let the air that it is pulling out of the tank to create vacuum. It has to have that has to be open so the air can escape through the exhaust. So I make sure that's open. I put it back into vacuum, and I stand there staring at the gauge some more. Not doing anything. I go back. I hop up on top of the frac tank. I stick the end of the hose in it, so the end of the hose is submerged. I grab the other end of the hose. I hook it up to the inlet valve to my tanker. As it's sitting there, supposed to be building vacuum, and I open up the valve, and you can feel the hose get heavy, and you can feel the flow of liquid. No, I don't feel anything, and the hose is still light. All right, cool. I'm gonna shut that valve. I'm gonna run over here. I'm gonna just see if I can vent the tank again. Nothing. Okay, I've had an issue like this before. And it took me up until this point, just like last time, to realize the pot is full. There's a where the safety valve is. It has the ball that goes up, and the float ball that stops liquid from going through the system if it gets too high, and it basically turns off the vacuum. Uh, there's a little pot that will collect liquid in there. Now it should never have liquid in it because you should always be completely still while loading, and you should always have the valve completely shut when transporting any liquid. And if anything did happen, that ball will float to the top and plug the hole so no liquid will make it past into the system at all. But there is the safety catch can, is what it relates to. I open that up, nothing came out. I go underneath, there is the oil catch can for the pump. All the used pump oil goes into this other catch can that you have to uh, drain. You're supposed to drain it after every use. So I open up that one, and it is full of fucking water. Not full, but there was quite a bit of water in there. And it's weird that there's water in there. Now, if water is in there, that means that the safety catch can for the other one that I was talking about, that means that one has been full and bled by. So I go back to it, open it up. It is not draining at all. I stick a screwdriver up in there, and I release the blockage that was in there, and it drains out. And I'm like, hallelujah, I fixed the fucking problem. The safety catch can was full of fucking water and was not letting it operate because there's another ball in there, I think. I think there's a ball in there. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't taken these trailers apart. I'm not sure, but I know how to normally operate them, and I know how to run through uh, issues. Have an issue getting this thing to pull fucking vacuum. I know all the steps to take, and in fact, multiple people call me when they have this same exact issues, and I've yet to find one that I haven't been able to help just over the phone. So I'm not an expert. I'm a professional. I'm not an expert, but I am a professional. I am paid to do this job, and I do it well, I believe, other than waking up late. Um, yeah, and then so I drain those pots, and I'm like, all right, well, before I even start anything else, I'm going to add pump oil to it because it takes non-detergent oil in the vacuum pumps, uh, to be lubed up, and that all that oil it goes through it and is spit out, as used pump oil. I added 3.5 quarts of oil to this fucking tiny little reservoir. I mean, maybe it's not tiny, but it is a little reservoir for pump oil, and it had to have been completely fucking dry. 3.5 quarts of oil went in there. So I get everything filled up, added up. Everything is good. Everything is drained. Should be fucking good to go. Hop in the cab thinking, all right, I ran through all the steps. Everything is good now. Everything is going to work just fine. I am still having the same fucking issues. And this is, I don't know how long I've been talking to you guys, but it was over an hour is what all this fucking took to do. So I get into the truck, after I ran through all the system again, tried it 3 different times, 3 different ways, turning the truck off, turning the truck on, everything. Still not working. So I call the person that uses this truck the most. And I say, hey, is there something going on with this? Because I've been trying to do this, and if I don't leave if I don't get loaded and leave this fucking site right fucking now, I am not going to make it to the disposal site in time. She said, and it was a woman driver. She said, all right, well, let's run through everything. Get in the truck, kick on the PTO, push the lever back, rev it all the way up, hop out, open the isolation valve, pull the lever out for open, go to the vacuum pump, put it on vacuum, go to the back vent valve, make sure it's closed, and then look at the gauge. Like, I'm looking at the gauge, it's not doing a fucking thing. Okay. And so she ran me through it like 4 different ways of her, maybe it would work. I don't know. And I have no shame in calling to ask for help. And I will do anything and everything that she tells me to do because she's the one that normally runs it. She has me put my phone near the pump so she can listen to it and see if it sounds like, the pump makes different noises versus pressure, neutral, well, which is vent, or vacuum. And it also makes different noises if the isolation valve is closed. And it is making different noises in all those different positions, but she says it's not the right noise. She said something's going on. I'm like, no shit. So she said, I don't know. Call one of the mechanics. Call a mechanic. He's like, I don't fucking know. If it ain't sitting in front of me, I don't know. You can say all these words that you want to say, but I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Just bring it up here, or don't, or I can't even help you. I'm like, okay, cool. So I call the other mechanic. He says exactly the same thing, understandably. I call the fleet manager, the guy that is he knows the ins and outs of every fucking thing that we have. Call him. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Sounds like you're fucked. Bring it in. I'm like, okay, I will bring it in. I will be late. I will not be getting offloaded today, but I will bring it in. Do we have another tanker that is available to use? No. We have 3 vacuum tankers. Which one can I use? None. Neither. You can't use either one. Okay. Cool. And I will say this truck was parked inside, uh, underneath heat lamps. So if our shop gets like below 50 degrees or whatever it is, the heat lamps turn on. So I mean, it's not like, and it was parked there for a couple of days. So it's not like anything would have been frozen. Now that the safety balls can get stuck. They even on a hot day they can get stuck. But usually if you push it to pressure and then back and let it build up a little bit and then turn it back to vacuum, it will blow that fucking ball out. You just putting it in pressure, because if that isolation valve is open and the pump is pumping, it is putting pressure on that ball. So that ball will get shot down, and that's why it's got the little cage that it gets caught in. So that little ball will fucking blow out of that fucking whatever it'll build up a lot of fucking pressure. And so yeah, I don't know. That's not the fucking issue apparently, because it makes different noises whether that valve is open or closed, making me know that fucking ball is not stuck there. And I did hear, I got some sort of a pressurization at one point in time. I tried to recreate it. I could not get it, but I did hear like the whole tank. The tank makes a certain noise whenever it gets vacuumed, and it's like, whew, and I heard it, and I was like, oh, and I tried to recreate it. I tried to start the vacuum. It was not fucking working. So that brings me all the way up until, well, no, I called that guy. He said, "You're fucked. Bring it in." So I said, "All right, I will." And then I had to call the project manager, the guy that sets up the disposals and, the loads and all that shit. Call him up. I'm like, "Hey, man, I just wanted to let you know that you saw me come in late today, but I did get to the facility that I needed to be at only 8 minutes behind schedule. So it's not a big deal." He's like, "I was just messing with you, man. Not a big deal. It's okay." I'm like, "Okay, thank you for your forgiveness. Uh, but I will say, I can't get loaded because something's going on with this fucking tanker. And I'm confident in how I run these things. There's something majorly wrong with this fucking tanker that I cannot fix here at this property." He said, "Did you get anything loaded?" "No, I got absolutely nothing loaded. There is fucking liquid in the fucking tank, but that's left over. That is left over from the other person that fucking did this shit because I wasn't able to build anything." Um, so yeah, I was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not getting loaded." Uh, the four people that I've talked to have all told me, "Bring it back to the shop. There's nothing I can do there, and if I am gonna be able to get loaded today, I'm just wasting time sitting here. So I'm gonna fucking bring it back to the shop." And he's like, "Okay." You could tell he wasn't happy about it, but there's nothing we can do about it. "Okay, bring it back." So I got in the truck. I got the hose unhooked from the tank, and I've been driving back to our shop. It's a 45-minute drive. So I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna get pulled into the shop, and we're gonna see what we can fucking do. If not, I'm gonna unhook this truck from this trailer, and I'm gonna grab another tanker, which they say neither other tanker is available. So I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. But if I can, I will be getting loaded today, and I will be heading down to Oklahoma to stay at the normal hotel that I normally stay at, eat the dinner that I normally eat. Well, I have to get down there by 8, which is possible. It's definitely possible to get down there. It's only like a 6.5 hour drive, so it's not that big of a deal. But now I'm wondering, am I able to charge? Not well. I mean, obviously, I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid for when I showed up, I got going, everything. Somebody else has been using this truck and trailer for the last week. I have nothing to do with anything. From what I can tell, it was not very well taken care of because both pots were completely full and it was completely out of pump oil. There's like quarts of fucking pump oil on the trailer. So I don't know why there wasn't any. I don't know. I have no idea. So I'm going to bring it in here. Hopefully these mechanics are going to get it taken completely apart and put back together properly. And it'll be all right. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a rundown on what the fuck I've been doing. And I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I think you're close. It's close to an hour worth of content for you guys. Been pretty interesting, and if I keep going, well, I don't know. You all find out on the next episode. To be continued. Keep all 18 down, and y'all have a great day. Hopefully, it's better fucking than mine.